Hello everybody. I'm here to present the ONF strategy for adaptation of forest of climate change. ONF is a French institute to management of public forest in France. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il m'a dit? Hop. So, I will first talk to you about the climate compatibility analysis that we use and how we manage the diebacks, and then more global strategy for the management of our forest. So I will remind you the baseline warming trajectory that we take for adaptation to adaptate our forest. Then I will show you an approach to the long-term vulnerability of our forest ecosystem. Then I'll show you how we estimate the need of renewal of in our forests and the everyday management of diebacks and renewal of the forests. So what we use is the baseline warming trajectory, which is the scenarios that say that the global warming will probably be around 3 degrees in 2100. And in France, it will mean plus 4 degrees. So, So here in Lyon, because I will mostly speak about Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region, which is where we are now. So in Lyon, we should have a climate around Rome. So what does it mean for our forest in Auvergne-Rhône, in France? This is in France. 1/3 of the places where oak can grow now, which is the first species that we produce in ONF in deciduous forest, and the loss of 2/3 of places where beech can grow. So we try to anticipate this. So how do we approach the climate compatibility? So here on the left, you have a map of where the oak can grow, looking for warmth and growth. So in the brown places, it means that even in our actual climate, oak can't grow at all. And in the green, in every case scenario, it should be okay, at least for growth and warmth. And in between, the red is with any future scenario, the orange is with an intermediate scenario, and the yellow is with a pessimistic one. But we generally tend to take this one, so only keep the green areas. And this is the map of where we have oak in our forest in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes. So you can see that for this species, most of the places where we have now oak are in places where we know that in the future it won't be adapted to the climate change. So we have this kind of analysis for all the main species that we have in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, so fir tree, spruce, beech, and Douglas fir, and oak that you just saw. So you can see that for some species, it looks like that we have still a bit of percentage of the areas where the species could be okay, but the thing is we have many forests in altitude where we don't do any management because they are not possible to access. So if you take only the places where we do an actual management, it's mostly those parts. well, not mostly, but you have a higher percentage which is in vulnerability situation. So it means for us that 9% of the, this is in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, so where the region where we are now. So it means that how do we estimate the need of renewal of our forest just for climate change? Is that 9% of the actual areas where we do management are incompatible even with an optimistic scenario of climate change. And 37% of the areas are incompatible with an intermediate one, and nearly 60% are incompatible in a pessimistic scenario. So we estimate that 35% of area of our forest will need a renewal in the next 35 years, which means 1% a year, which is a lot more than what we would do in classic management, or at least not in planting, because we used to renew our forest a lot by natural means, which is quite easier to manage than to plant with new species. So we estimate that we have now 3,500 hectares per year that we will have to renew just due to the global warming, which is a big step for us, because usually in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes we were not at all used to planting. As I was saying, it was only or nearly only natural renewal. And now this leads us to try to change our plans and to anticipate. We have also the multiplication of violent climatic phenomena like storms, winds, and heat waves, which leads to diebacks in our forest. For example, here you have a forest in north of the region, and you can see this is a program made by INRAE to help us to see where the diebacks occur. And you can see by the years that are indicated here, the places where either we lose the forest or we see that there are some many diebacks. And you see that it's growing very quickly with the years. So in those cases, this is like the next one, which I show you in another department, where this is a crisis with bark beetle in Savoie and Haute-Savoie, which are the two departments north from here. And you can see the same thing every year. The places where it's red, it's a bigger proportion of the forest which are impacted by the crisis. So you see clearly it's going worse every year. So what do we do? The first thing is to locate the places where we have some diebacks. So the previous thing that I show help us a lot to see the earlier as possible where it is. And then we have to cut the trees when it's possible to access as fast as possible to limit the propagation of bark beetle, but it's not really possible. And, no, c'est dans l'autre sens. And then we have the question of what how we will renew. So we still try to use natural renewal, but the aim is to select species which will be better adapted than the one that we had, and especially also to diversify, so not to keep only one species, but to try to have as many as possible. And we also try to plant some new forest species. So it can be the same forest species, for example, fir tree. But instead of planting fir tree, which comes from northern Alps, we will take the same fir tree, but which comes from Pyrenees or south of France, where it's already used to more drought and more heat. So it's better adapted to the next climate. And we also try to plant other forest species. But as you can see, we have a problem of taking species that will be able to grow even in our climate, which is now occurring. So we have also to take care of big cold in the winter and late freezing in the spring, because we are still now in the mountains, and the thing is that we still have now snow in the winter and late freezing, which can be very difficult for some species. So we have to look at species which will be okay in the future with the drought and heat, but also okay now with the cold and winter that we can have now in our climate. So mainly we don't use only one species, but we try to diversify and to have many. So hopefully some will adapt in the future. This is an example of what I say. So this is the forest of Maglan, which had a very bad storm, I think 3 years ago. And you can see all these places were totally down with the wind, so with the snow, the storm. So the first thing is obviously to cut and take all the trees which were there, and then in this case, the choice was to plant, and to plant quite a bit of number of species to try to adapt, but not only, because you can see that we also plant some Picea abies spruce, which is still, which was there before. Okay. Yeah, and the objective of ONF is to create a forest which is more resilient to every hazard and to global warming. So we try to create what we call mosaic forest. So what will it be? It will be a forest where the strategy of managing will be different in the parts. For example, ouais, alors putain irrégulière. So, so you will have different types of management of the forest. Also, some places where you will leave the natural evolution go. Some places where you will have some new species planted. Some places where you will do only natural renewal. And the aim is to have the same thing in a very small place, so to have different species and different ages of the trees at a large scale, but to not that why? Okay, sorry. So this is forêt mosaic forest, which is what we try to do as much as possible. About fire risk, so in France, state gives a general interest mission to ONF to limitate fire risk. So it's three main interventions, which is arrange and maintain equipments of protection, detect fire outbreaks, and fire prevention, which is with information and awareness of public. And as you saw in the previous one, the fire risk is growing in France. It used to be for ONF only in the south zone of France, where there was this mission for forest risk, and it's now growing to the north of France. So Isère, the place where we are here, is now since 2 years as a protective strategy for forest against fires. Now the fire is forbidden all year around in forest. We do some going outside to aware the public of the fire risk, especially in summer. So surveillance tour also during summer to check that there are no fires, not too close to the forest. And also the control of legal clearance obligation, which is that you have to take off the vegetation and trees that are too close to the houses or to the roads. And for now, we go to inform the people who own the house that they will have to do it in prevention to fire risk. And also draw tests of the vegetation, which allow the Météo France to estimate the risk of forest fire. And in the departmental plan for forest protection, the productive forest is considered as important as the protective forest because obviously if you lose a forest with fire which had a role, for example, for rockfall, it will be also a problem. So we try to take as much care of this forest, even if they are often quite hard to access, so it's not so easy. So in conclusion, to short term, the big aim is to manage the diebacks and the immediate vulnerability of our forest. The thing is the diebacks are multifactorial and hard to predict because they don't necessarily happen where you saw that it was a place with vulnerability. The management of the diebacks where they are and the commercialization, the sale of them, which is not also so easy, and the estimation of planting need, which is, I made a mistake, 3,500 hectares a year for the next year. And to medium term, the climate compatibility is the major index of maintain of or disappearance of a species of certain places. So it allows us to estimate the need of planting or natural renewal. And the global estimation of renewal is 3,500 hectares a year for the public forest in Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes. And I think that's all.